Hey guys, welcome to another video from Historic Militaria. Today we're going to be looking at the Soviet TT33 Tokarev pistol. Now, I know a lot of folks who are watching this are probably very familiar with the Tokarev pistol. A lot from Poland, China, Yugoslavia certainly have come in. A lot have come in from Russia as well, but not many unmodified ones have come in. Those were all ones that came in before the Gun Control Act of 1968, because the Tokarev is one of those pistols that actually does not have an external safety, and therefore, to be legally imported into the United States today, they actually do need to have some form of manual safety added to them. And in modified versions, you will see usually a safety added right here. I also have seen some trigger safeties added. These, however, are the original Soviet design, so there are no added safeties. I really don't know when these were brought into the United States. I know they probably were Vietnam captures. That seems to be when a lot of these came back, or possibly Korea. I don't really believe a lot of stories of these coming in during World War II, because the United States, frankly, did not have that much contact with Soviet soldiers. I know they could have possibly captured some from Germans, but again, it's really all speculation. Whereas I have seen a number of documented Korean War and Vietnam era Bringback Tokarev pistols. But without further ado, let's crack into these and just take a look at this little small selection of them. Again, the first thing you're going to notice is there is no safety added or anything like that, no trigger safety, and no import marks, most importantly. The other thing about Soviet guns, and this is a 1940 Tula, and you could tell by the Tula star. I believe Ishevsk did make some of these, and so you will see those usually later in the war. I've seen some late war and post-war Tokarevs that were made by Ishevsk. But Tula certainly made the bulk of the early guns, and this is probably right before Operation, or actually it definitely is before Operation Barbarossa and the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union. So what you'll notice is the grips are typically Tokarev with these black plastic or Bakelite grips. These are actually marked like all Soviet Tokarev grips would be that are not wartime expedients, with the star and CCCP, and that's going to be repeated on both sides. You're also going to have a magazine which has this lanyard loop on it, which is kind of unique to the early Tokarevs. You're not going to see that generally on your Chinese or your other Eastern European manufactured Tokarev magazines. I'm not going to say that you won't see it. I'm going to say it's uniquely Soviet, though, when you do see it. Also, the magazines were, in fact, serial numbered. This one does not match to the gun, and it's been reserialed at one point as well. So it's got two serial numbers. The one at the toe is the original serial number. This one is an added one. I'm really not even sure, because that doesn't match the gun either. On the Tokarev, you are going to have your serial number and date right here on the frame. You are then going to have it repeated up here on the slide, and these serial numbers, of course, should match in an original gun. You are also going to have the magazine, as we talked about, is going to be numbered as well, but the difficult thing is the barrel is also numbered on these, and it is not. You can't see it unless you disassemble the entire gun. So if you're just looking at one of these at a gun show or something like that, the serial number is actually right here underneath the ejection port, and it's covered, so you don't know if you've got a matching barrel or not. It's a little bit difficult. Maybe you can get a dealer or a seller to let you take it apart. Possibly not, but that's just something to consider when you are looking for an all-matched gun. Also, one other point to notice is the early Soviet serrations here are a lot different than the later, very tightly spaced serrations, which look more like a regular semi-automatic pistol that we're sort of all familiar with. This is a very unique Soviet design that you're really only going to see on the Soviet guns. Also, the Tokarev's safety was basically just a half cock. So when you put the gun in half cock, this can't be, the slide can't be functioned, and, you know, the trigger freezes and the entire gun is frozen until you then cock it, and then obviously pulling the trigger is going to action it like a regular gun. Moving on, this is another 1940, just another typical example. Nothing terribly interesting. Again, one thing you're going to notice on pretty much all the original Soviet Tokarevs that do not have import marks is the poor condition on most of them. This one has definitely seen service. It does have a lot of blue left, but it is a very faded blue. It's turning to sort of a mousy gray patina. But again, that's what you would expect in a gun that has been used extensively. This one, again, has your serial number and year up top, and your matched serial number and year on the frame. This one also, though, does have a matched magazine. So this is an all-original gun, which is kind of interesting. You don't see that very often. But again, I wouldn't get too excited about the magazine not matching. If you see one of these for a good price, certainly don't let that count too hard against it. One thing I will notice or point out is the pre-war guns do have a very, very nice blued finish. I mean, this is, you know, it is a Soviet military gun, so it's not a gorgeous finish, but that's a pretty nice deep blue finish. It's pretty durable as well. It did see quite a bit of service, these did, and they seem to handle it pretty well. Also, the actions on these are very smooth. They are very nice shooters if you do shoot them. Just make sure to avoid Czech 7.62x25 ammunition. Even if people tell you it's okay, it is a lot hotter than the Soviet Tokarev ammunition, and it may have a detrimental effect on your gun. I would definitely recommend to stay away from it, but it's your gun and you can do what you want. This is a 1937. This is a pre-war gun, and as you can see, the bluing stayed very nice in the pre-war years, even though you were in the middle of Stalin's purges. Again, the CCCP on the grips is going to stay the same. Nothing major changed on these. However, one error that I have seen on quite a few of these is an upside down CCCP. Now, if you're looking at that, that's what it should look like. And you flip the gun over, and actually it is reversed. So you're looking at the CCCP completely upside down, yet the grip is not upside down. It was just cast upside down. And this is a known error, especially on 1937 pre-war guns, is the right grip is going to be upside down in terms of the actual casting. If you see that, just know that it is a factory error. It's nothing that's going to particularly harm the value or anything like that, but just something unusual and kind of typical of what the Soviets were turning out at the time. But I hope you've enjoyed taking a quick look at some of the pre-war Tokarevs that are floating around. They are out there if you're really looking for one, and they do command a bit of a premium, so they're definitely more spendy than your typical import-marked ones. You can find nice import-marked Russian ones with added safety, with import marks at a much lower rate, and the condition will be nicer because they're all going to be Arsenal reblued. These are not. These are as issued. But it's just what you want to do, what your budget allows, and what you want to collect. As always, remember to like and subscribe, and we'll be taking a look at some more interesting handguns, grenades, rifles, you name it, in the coming weeks and months. Like, subscribe, and do leave a comment if you've got questions or have one of these. Thanks for watching.